What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we're talking about Nick Foles stepping in, getting the keys to the car, captain of the ship, putting Mitch Trubisky in the back seat now. He is getting the starting job moving forward. So we're going to basically be talking about his outlook for the rest of the season and what he has on the matchup for next week, etc. We're just going to be talking Nick Foles for this episode. So hopefully you're a Bears fan and you're happy that, you're moving on from Mr. Trubisky, but hopefully, things pan out well for Nick Foles. So let's get right into the episode. So Nick Foles jumps in, gets the keys to the captainship, captain hat, all the above. He is the guy in Chicago. So now what happens now with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky? Now, I honestly think the Bears are going to be basically seeing if Nick Foles can handle these matchups because, again, it was the Falcons defense. They've been known for the past 3 weeks or the Super Bowl or just known to give up big leads. So that's what happened. So Nick Foles comes in, 8 minutes left in the third quarter. He basically thrown 5 touchdowns. Let's not, move past that and act like that didn't happen regardless of whatever defense he is playing against. This is his first start for the season in week 3. And he basically throws for 5 touchdowns. I say basically 5 because one was intercepted, where more so Allen Robinson got muscled, and the other one, Anthony Miller, dropped. So therefore, he would have had 5 touchdowns. So I do like that he came in, threw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, which one wasn't his fault, but that was very impressive for him to come in the third quarter and come back and win the game. So little key notes that I saw and that I was really impressed with, that he was real comfortable in the pocket. You know what I mean? He wasn't afraid to dump the ball off to Tariq Cohen, RIP his season, but he would have been a good little gadget for Nick Foles. But moving on, next man up. Maybe Monty can get those dump-off passes and show that he has the pass-catching ability and that he could just be the guy. But you all know how I feel about David Montgomery. He should be the guy. But anyway, Nick Foles came in, real comfortable in the pocket. He was making some very sketchy-ass throws, I'll tell you that. But it's Nick Foles, so he can get that off. But I do like how much he was targeting Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham, he's doing all right this season. He's been flying under the radar for some people. A lot of people still have him on the bench where he's getting, a couple points here and there. But he ended up, having a decent game where he was being targeted heavily. This season, Jimmy Graham has been targeted a lot in the red zone. 31% of the time out of that target share, he's being targeted in the red zone. He is number 1 for red zone targets on his team right now. And I see that staying steady. I see that increasing, if anything, with Nick Foles there. He's looking for the big body guy that he can get the ball to in the end zone. And Jimmy Graham is, a good tight end still. He was in weird situations where teams weren't really tight end friendly and they weren't utilizing him enough or utilizing him at all. But now he's here in Chicago, flying under the radar where Nick Foles could, basically use and abuse him as if he's Ertz. You know what I mean? But maybe Nick Foles will be good outside of Philly. Maybe he'll break that curse where he sucked in St. Louis. Or where he sucked, in Kansas City. He didn't look too well. Maybe he'll find a way where he can, be great. Because Jacksonville, I really don't count. He got injured, and they really didn't want to, work him in. But anyway, Jacksonville is toxic as hell. They get rid of all the good players. So I kind of chalk that up as a dub. I really don't put that against Nick Foles. He basically injured himself. Well, not himself. He got injured and didn't really get the full cent opportunity. But for the rest of the season, man, I don't know. I had Nick Foles on my dynasty team in one of these sleeper leagues that I'm in. And I feel like I had him because we kind of knew that Trubisky was going to get benched eventually. But some part of me feel like I can't start Nick Foles yet. I can't put him in my starting lineup if I'm in a super flex or if I'm in dire need of a quarterback. I don't feel like I can lean on Nick Foles just yet. He's probably going to be in my Pump the Brakes episode right after this episode. This is just a quick little rest of the season, thought process of what I had. Recap basically of Nick Foles. But moving forward, I do think that maybe we'll see Trubisky again once Foles gets into his little funk, maybe gets into his little groove where he's not playing up to par. Because right now the Bears are 3-0. And I'll tell you what, the Bears 3-0 are very different from the Bills 3-0 or, the Falcons 0-3. It's very different. That's a different universe. That's a different realm. And I don't know if they're – I can't say they're killing it right now. They're winning games, but this last game, honestly, if they would have kept Trubisky in the game, I don't think they would have won. So honestly, I look at it as they're 2-1, But being that Matt Nagy went with his gut and put in Nick Foles, I mean, he's getting paid the big bucks. So why not put him in the game, coach? And moving on, I think Nick Foles should be fine for a couple of weeks. If I had to play him, it would be only based on matchups. So obviously, if he had the Falcons, twice a year, which he doesn't, if he had the Falcons again coming up, hell yeah, I'm putting Nick Foles in. You know what I mean? But he's going to end up on my pump the brakes list, my next episode, probably after this one. Hopefully you watch it. But I feel like I don't think we're going to not see Mitch Trubisky anymore. I don't think Nick Foles is the answer for the rest of the season. But there's a lot of football left. There's a lot of things that we need to see pans out. Maybe, he gets the ball going and gets the groove going there. Now we're sitting here 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, and they're like 5-0, 6-0, et cetera. And then, maybe Nick Foles is the answer for that offense. But I do like how comfortable he did. He came in, and I definitely think this is a boost, for most of the players. Definitely Jimmy Graham. I definitely think his stock goes up. I don't think he's a guy you need to go buy right now, more of like a wait and see, but I definitely think, his stock goes up because Jimmy Graham is looking good so far this season. He has 102 yards, 10 targets. I feel like he's getting into a groove where he's going to start seeing that target increase because there's a lot of mouths to feed there with Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson, Tariq Cohen getting the targets out of the backfield. Even Ted Ginn Jr. was pretty impressive last week with Nick Foles, and I definitely think that they have a lot of moving parts there where Jimmy Graham can end up just being a big red zone threat, being that he's the number one, target in that red zone with 31% target share. So that's definitely something that I want to keep my eye on. If I'm going to have, Jimmy Graham in my starting lineup because he's going to be, I'm not going to even put that touchdown dependent on him because he was hitting him all over the field in the middle. So that can only increase with Nick Foles being the guy. So again, Nick Foles only came in the third quarter with like 8 to 9 minutes left, and he basically threw for 5 touchdowns. That is very impressive to me. So I definitely got him like in the corner of my eye, a watch list. But if again, I'm not even going to go into detail. I got another episode for him coming, but he's going to end up on my start and sit, pump the brakes. So that's basically all I got for you guys right now. And I wonder how you guys feel about Nick Foles. What do you guys, where you guys see him, based on matchups? You're going to put him in your starting lineup. Maybe you had to go get him, spend a waiver wire priority because a lot of people didn't stash him. I mean, that's kind of like you would not stashing Herbert if you were like in a deep league or in a super flex league because Tyrod was not keeping that job. And we knew Trubisky wasn't going to keep that job. So even with them 2-0 going into that Falcons game, eventually Trubisky's going to get gone. He looked terrible. You know what I mean? The interceptions, the bad decisions just need to stop. I got the hiccups. It's because it's fucking Bud Light. But crush that quick. But anyway, that's all I got. And hopefully you guys watch my next episode after this one. And I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes after I stop this episode uploading. And then whatever the case may be. Hopefully, guys, I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.